I want to talk about push gravity and why they thought it couldn't work, but why it actually can work. Um, Descartes was the first guy that was thinking that things are getting pushed onto the earth from some kind of incoming push from space. And then Fatio took it up and was working on it and actually was hanging out with Newton. And Fatio was a really good mathematician, and he had been showing that Newton's laws of gravitation, you could just reverse them and it would work just as well with this this push that was coming in from all directions from space. And he thought that this push was coming in from like a bunch of little particles were coming in from space, like really small little particles. He called them ultramundane particles. And he envisioned these ultra small particles coming in from space all the time and pushing on us. And that's what was making gravity. And he wrote a bunch of stuff on that. And then 50 years later, Lesage came along and basically took Fatio's papers, and I'm not sure how much even he did more with them, but his thing also was that ultramundane particles were coming in from space, and this was causing push gravity. And you would shield these particles, like if there was something between you and space, you would be being shielded from these ultramundane particles. They're very small particles coming in from all directions. But they worked on that hard, and then it fell out of favor because it was debunked for 4 reasons. The first reason is they said that all of these particles coming in and interacting with the matter would overheat the matter. So there was the overheating was number one. They said Earth would overheat in 20 minutes or whatever. And the second one was drag. And drag is like if something's going really, really fast through these little particles and something else isn't moving and was just sitting there in the particles, then the one that was going really fast would be getting hit by more particles. And you'd experience drag. You'd experience more gravity from the front. And we don't experience that. So that was the second debunk for push gravity. And then the third debunk, which was the one that really convinced me back in grade 10 against push gravity. The third debunk is ecliptic shielding. And that's when you've got an eclipse. So then if you have the eclipse, then the body in the middle wouldn't have any gravity hitting it at all from the direction of where it's being shielded by both of the other bodies, the other 2 bodies that are bracketing it. And so you'd have like a total loss of gravity from the body in the middle. And we don't find that. That was the third debunk. There is a slight effect during eclipses. It's called the Allais effect. And people have pendulums going, and during the eclipse, they say that sometimes that the pendulum acts differently. And it's a lot of Allais people go to all of the eclipses with their pendulums and try to recreate the Allais effect. Okay? Because that was supposed to be a sign of push gravity, is that the eclipse would affect things. And then the fourth debunk was that push gravity would have to be very, very, very fast, very, very, very numerous, very, very, very small particles in order for it to work, because most of the stuff would have to go through, and then just a little bit would have to interact. And then as you got more and more matter, then you have more and more interaction. So the ultramundane particles would have to be super, super small and super, super fast, and they just didn't have, like, that's what they had to have, right? So I didn't believe in push gravity. Actually, it was the ecliptic shielding that really got me. And oh yeah, I couldn't figure, like, that was a good argument as far as I was concerned. But since I started working on this galaxy model for the atom, and I suddenly realized that there's radiation that's 10 to the 31 times smaller and more numerous than neutrinos. Like, if these next level down, neutrinos would be so much smaller and faster. And also, they would be radiation. And also, they would actually be coming from the matter itself. So that fixes all of the debunks for push gravity are fixed by this smaller gauge neutrino. There's no overheating because the electrons are putting this energy out just as fast as the protons are absorbing it. There's no drag because it's not being absorbed according to density. The protons are absorbing it according to frequency. So when the body's going faster, the proton is just absorbing at a slightly different frequency. It's not absorbing more, it's absorbing at a different point on the scale of the available spectrum. And number 3, the ecliptic shielding, the body in between the other two wouldn't be completely shielded because the other two are also putting out this same push, okay? And then, and the final thing, that it would have to be very, very fast and numerous and small. And this would be 10 to the 31 times as fast and more numerous and smaller, like using these smaller neutrinos from electrons. So looking at the universe as being fractal and having these smaller levels, smaller size levels, solves this problem of push gravity and makes it totally possible, I think. What do you guys think?